Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's good, everybody? What's up, man? How's everybody doing, man? How's everybody's weekend? How's y'all weekend, man? How's everybody? What did everybody do, man? Welcome in. How's everybody doing, man? Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday. How's everybody's weekend? What y'all did, man? We did a whole bunch of... Did we do a whole bunch of nothing? No, yesterday we had to go run some errands yesterday. So yesterday was like an errand day. We had some fire steak last night. Sam made us some steak last night. So that was great. What did we do Saturday? Saturday we didn't do shit. I think we stayed home. We kept watching Worst Roommate Ever. and here we are. We did go to church on Sunday. And I'll be honest, I'm gonna keep it all the way a buck with y'all, man. Completely slipped my mind that the semifinals game 1 between the Liberty and the Aces was on at the same time. It was like a 1 p.m. game, which was the same time church was. And obviously I was disappointed that I missed the game. But y'all ever go to church or wherever your place of prayer or whatever you might call it for yourself, right? How often have y'all ever gone there to like the synagogue or you know what I'm trying to say, and you felt like that when you went, that the scriptures or the readings or the sermon is almost speaking right at you, right? So it was a beautiful day yesterday. It was great. I had a great run-in. Which by the way, I have noticed. I've noticed this before, but it's been very apparent because the seasons are changing right now, right? So I went for a run yesterday. First time ever I ran without ever looking at my watch, which was great. And I ran over a minute faster per mile than I've been running typically. So yesterday it was just great. But I have noticed that the weekend runners are a little snobby. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what it is about the weekend runners versus the weekday runners, but the weekend runners, nobody says hi to you. Everybody's too good to say what's up, and I'm not over here trying to have a conversation. It's like a little head nod, a little, like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, them weekend. Hi, mom. the weekend runners are really bad. So it was great. I was singing the whole time. I was singing "Love in This Club" out loud. Hopefully nobody thought I was being fucking weird because I was singing "Love in This Club." I kept singing the remix part in the middle of all the little shit that they were singing. So hopefully people understood that I was just singing along, vibing. So we ran, had breakfast, and then we went to church. And like I said, it was great because I just, you just go, and sometimes you feel like you just have to hear what they have to say. And when things kind of line up and they're talking about, first of all, he's new. One of the priests that we have, and he's converted. I believe he used to be Protestant, to now Catholic, and he talked about, there was a gentleman that he was speaking to that was trying to convert, and he was saying how oftentimes people speak to him about converting because he converted himself, and how he could have given this man answers to some of these questions because he knew some of the answers. But he said, why would he do that? Because if this person was going to go and convert on his own, him adding his input would be him putting his plan into motion, as opposed to it being God's plan or this person's plan individually, right? And I thought that was really powerful. to let things be as they are. He was talking about listening. It was just a lot of really great it was a lot of really great things. I took a lot of great stuff. I took a lot of great things away from it. So that was awesome. And what did we do? And then, like I said, we ran a bunch of errands last night. So that was my weekend. I hope y'all had a great weekend. Yeah, man, I'm excited. We are going to get right into this part right over here. Give me.
Yeah, that was definitely tough, but thankful that Julius welcomed me with open arms here. It was not gonna lie, that news it was crazy, but I'm really thankful for them and their friendships and everything and what they brought to this team. Really thankful I got to get a relationship with Julius, and just the memories we made together. It was really fun, absolutely. And Donte, he was a groomsman at my wedding. That should tell you everything you need to know about our relationship, and love him.
Check out. So we obviously got some crazy news over the weekend, y'all. We obviously got some crazy news, some massive moves going down in the NBA. Cat's out the bag, y'all. The cat's out the bag. But before we get into that, I did want to touch on. I did just want to touch on Dikembe Mutombo, the legend, the great, the finger wave, the finger wag. Dikembe Mutombo passed away this morning. That's crazy. And it's one of those things that I don't even really know how to react to it, how to process it. I grew up watching Dikembe. His finger wag was iconic. The Michael Jordan thing, back and forth with him. Him ending up on Philly. Him ending up on Philly on that run with Allen Iverson, ending up on the Rockets. What year was he on the Rockets? Was he with I think he was with T-Mac on the Rockets, right? I could be making that up, but I think I definitely think he caught T-Mac on the Rockets in those years. One of the best big men that we've seen, especially defensively. Just a great player, a great man. You never heard anything bad said about him. Fun fact, Dikembe was a Knick. Oh, yes. Actually, yes. I completely forgot about that. That's a great reminder. Big task at hand. I appreciate that. But prayers up to him and his family. They said it was cancer. So hope he's not in pain, not struggling. But rest in peace to him, like I said. And I wanted to highlight this about Dikembe, right? Because we're in the NBA that we're in now is just this different space, right? Dikembe was one of those guys that specialized in something, right? He was a shot blocker, a defender. And in a time now where everyone does so many things well, especially on the offensive end, I feel like it's hard to stand out with a certain attribute or a certain niche like Dikembe did, right? Like he was blocking people so much he had a celebration for it. like That's how good he was. That's how good he was at it. And that other people would start adopting it and start using the finger wave until it turned into getting technical fouls. But he was so good at blocking shots that he had a celebration. And I fear that we're in a time now where, you guys have ever heard the saying, a jack of all trades is a master of none, right? And you get someone that's a master at one thing, they're not as great at all of these other things, right? And outside of popularity in the NBA, I feel like the actual skill sets of some of these guys, it gets kind of lost because we don't have specialists anymore, right? We have a few guys, but there's just not so many like it used to be, right? There were so many different characters in the NBA that did different things. It was like watching a superhero show. Oh, this person does this, that person does that, this person, everyone did different things. And I do have moments where, because everybody's dribbling and doing step backs, and it's like, you guys all look almost the same. And I wonder, right? I wonder if we will get back to that. Maybe it's with a player like a Chet Holmgren and a Wemby who seems to be really taking the defensive side of the ball very seriously and getting blocks, a la Dikembe. And I guess it's just something that I would like to see, because as a viewer, it's fun to watch the game looking for different players to do different things, if that makes sense, as opposed to just expecting everybody to come down, do 14 dribbles into a step back and a shot, right? Like when especially Draymond Green, before, you're over here watching when he does the fake handoff layup or to the alley-oop, and just so many different things to watch for, and it made it fun, right? That was why the Warriors were so fun, that you had Clay and Steph that they're both great three-point shooters, but even them two, I thought they were great three-point shooters in different aspects, right? Like Clay's a great just spot up, catch and shoot three-point shooter. Steph is a great moving off of the ball and also just off the dribble. And then you had a Draymond that played defense, grabbed rebounds, assists. And then you added a Kevin Durant that was mid-range. It was so many different styles of play on one team, and it made it really enjoyable to watch. And so, shout out to Dikembe, one of the great shot blockers and, specialists of his time. Definitely an amazing player, an amazing player. But to get to the topic at hand, if y'all saw the thumbnail, the New York Knicks have supposedly traded Julius Randle and Donte DiVincenzo to the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, right? This is as honest as just complete honesty. I don't know how this will turn out. And that's obvious, right? We have to see it. But I also just don't know how to feel about the trade itself, right? And the reason is because I genuinely think that there are good and bad aspects of this deal, right? So, first and foremost, right? I saw this trade happening. We were on a group chat. We were on a group call with our friends, with our close friends, right? And my friend Shayna starts telling me, she's like, yo, the trade. I immediately start looking it up, and I go into it. My first reaction literally my first reaction, I was like, my dad is gonna hate this trade. I knew it immediately. I knew my dad would absolutely hate this trade, and sure enough, he starts texting me about it. Calls him a pussy. And then he calls me and we talk about it. And I'm trying to rationalize with my dad, right? As a Knicks fan, I'm trying to see the positive in this, right? And if any of you guys got an opportunity to watch some of the New York Knicks media day, Jalen Brunson didn't really speak too much about it. he's having the most realist reaction, and I'm snitching. I'm snitching. He gonna hate me. But even Josh Hart, who, first and foremost, everyone in the media during media day, no one wanted to talk about this. I don't think they're allowed to because it's not an official trade. And Josh Hart said, "Fuck it." He said, "This is how I feel about this unofficial trade." Yada yada yada. But he kept pointing out what I thought the benefit of the trade was, which is Karl Anthony Towns' ability to shoot. Now, regardless of how you feel about his statement from a couple years ago about being the best shooting big man ever, doesn't take away from the fact that he shoots the three ball very well. I mean, he didn't in the playoffs for a stretch, but historically, right, he's a good 3-point shooter. And when you think about the Knicks and when you think about how Jalen Brunson performed when Julius Randle was out, right? His ability to operate in the paint. Jalen Brunson loves and has the uncanny ability to get a foot in the paint damn near every time. And so I think this trade really benefits him in a lot of ways, right? It also signals that, I mean, he's already the captain of the team. The city has already chosen their captain. Regardless of whether they gave him the captain role or not, the city chose the captain. And then the pay cut took place, and there's been a lot of conversations about how their style of play might look. And clearly, chill, bro. Verizon just cut my plan back on. Yo, good luck with that, dog. We actually got to go call Verizon over here too, because wow. Bro. But I think clearly the organization chose their guy, and it's Jalen Brunson. And I've said this before, right? Historically, you haven't missed a lot. You haven't missed a lot at all. I actually just started talking about this Knicks stuff, so you about to hear it. Historically, when a point guard or a smaller guard is the best player on your team, historically those teams do not win. Not championships, at least. You can count on damn near one hand in the last 30 years, 40 years, where we actually had a miniature point guard become the best player on the team, i.e. Steph Curry, right? And clearly the organization has picked a side, and that's Jalen Brunson. I think this move is to create space for Jalen Brunson, right? There's also the rumor that they're taking offers for Mitchell Robinson, right? And with what Tom Thibodeau said the other day about Julius Randle playing a little bit more of the 5, now we get a 7-foot-tall power forward who, because of his size, people would put him at the 5. And I think that's kind of a problem. Because the thing that I feared was Josh Hart being forced to play the power forward. And if they don't put him at the power forward, they're going to put who? OG Anunoby? And so the size that we got by adding Mikal Bridges, who in my mind would be the shooting guard, right? Originally, I thought their lineup would be Brunson, Mikal, OG, with Randle and Robinson. I don't see this ring their lady move, but this doesn't make sense to me at all. Like, if we had a big, I can see it, right? Because when you have a Mitchell Robinson and a Julius Randle on the floor together, and we'll get to this with Minnesota because I think they might end up with the same issue. In today's game, they can clog the lane up a little bit, right? And so the way I'm envisioning it, all right, you got a Mitchell Robinson, you got a Cat, you have size in the front court, but one can step out and space the floor. Okay, I could see that. But now it's starting to look like they might end up putting Cat at the 5, and we end up running this small lineup. Honestly, Elijah, I was looking at it. I was like, do they still have to make moves? Because we got no bigs, right? And I guess this does add a layer that we didn't have last season, which was a 3-point shooting big man, right? But now we have no bigs. We lost Hartenstein. Robinson is out. Rumor was that Donte wasn't too happy about the Nova Knicks. I think that's bullshit. I don't think it was him being unhappy to play with his guys. I think it was him seeing his potential being wasted in the next couple years. Right? And even with Randle, I mean, we saw what happened when they threw him in the game against the Pacers last year. That motherfucker went like backcourt. Like, he was scared. He looked like a deer in the headlights when they put him in the game. He said, "Oh shit, you told me to come in the game?" Well, yeah, because everybody's hurt, Mr. Sims. As of right now, yes, because now you have to rely on Sims or Precious. And Achua is great, but we got to stop throwing these 6'7" power forwards like at power forward, dog. Like, this is not 1994. Like, what are we doing? I thought we were done with the 6'7" power forwards, dog. Again, now we adding everybody. We actually doing worse because Josh Hart is 6'4" playing power forward, and everybody want to be like, oh, but he grabbed rebounds. He's still 6'4". Like, what the fuck are we? Listen, man. Listen. I want us to be great. And big task. You could even ask Elijah. I've been critical this whole summer. He been telling me, "Oh, the Knicks gonna get the chip." I'm like, wait, just wait, dog. I've been a Knicks fan for a long fucking time. You just gotta wait. You just gotta wait. Like, that organization is always bound to do something. And to go from competing against the top teams in the NBA, because with the roster that we had, in my mind going into the season, obviously they have to adjust. They have to get to know each other and their games, right? And in my mind, I'm trying to picture them, all right, how are you guys going to do against Boston, right? How are you guys going to do against Milwaukee? How are you guys going to do against Philly? So on and so forth. Right? They do, bro. They do. And you just go down the list. The Lakers. You just go down the list. I don't love how we match up against these guys currently. Because honestly, the starting five that I had imagined before with Brunson, Bridges, OG, Julius, and Mitchell Robinson, I genuinely thought was like a top 5 starting five in the NBA. Covered damn near all the bases. But it's no longer Knickerbockers at 4. Like, Jesus, bro. And I guess let's step away from the Knicks for a second, because this is the weird part about this trade, right? Because I was reading some Timberwolves fans, right? I was trying to read through comments to see how they felt about it, because obviously those guys watch their teams the most. And there was a lot of guys talking about Karl Anthony Towns hit his ceiling in Minnesota. There was nothing more. He didn't perform great last season. The money that he's going to be owed versus the Naz Reid's production. I understand all of that stuff, right? But you are now adding a mid-post ISO player with a 7-foot-tall center that don't have an offensive game, so he has to stay by the rim. So now you've kind of clogged the game up a little bit, right? On the other side of that, right, maybe they were looking at it in the sense of the playoffs last year, because against the Mavericks, I personally thought that if Karl Anthony Towns were able to beat his matchup, which was PJ Washington, and all he really needed to do was put his ass in the post, that the Minnesota Timberwolves would have probably been in the NBA Finals. And Julius Randle obviously has that ability that Karl Anthony Towns didn't have. Their offense may be cooked. Him and Ant going to slow it down to crawl if not corrected. That's kind of... right? That's kind of the issue. And, you know, when you look at the Knicks, for example, right? That was a part of what they would have had to figure out this year anyway with Randle and Brunson, is you have two guys that can isolate at a very high level, but trying to figure out how that looks in the flow of an offense is a lot more difficult than people give it credit for, right? I do think that getting Donte is massive for Minnesota, right? Because I think it relieves a little bit of pressure from, you know, because they have Rob Dillingham, right, who's obviously going to be the backup to Conley, but I do personally think that he's going to fill in that role. He can play with Nickeil Alexander, or he could play in place of him. So I do think Donte actually is very good for that team. Although he might also get kind of lost in the shuffle. In terms of minutes, his production might go down. This is the weird part about this trade. Like I said in the beginning, there are both good and bad parts of it. I just couldn't tell you wholeheartedly which way to lean towards. In my heart, though, I don't like the trade for either side. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't love the trade, and it could work out that's what I'm hoping for, is in a basketball sense it works out. You also gotta, personalities have to get along. All of these other things factor in, right, that we don't get to see, right? Like, I really do think that the contract thing was an issue for Donte DiVincenzo, who was their best three-point shooter on the Knicks last year. And now you're asking someone like him to play behind people after the year that he had. That's hard. It's hard to scale people back when they've seen the success that they could have, right? When they've seen that they could produce. And it seems to me, this is a what the fuck trade for me too, Doug. It seems to me like it was a trade that was made to try to keep the peace in the locker room. That's what I think it was, right? That if Donte was gonna have that type of friction, he didn't want to have that type of friction with his college friends. And Julius Randle, it was damn near too far gone, right? His relationship with the fan base is kind of soured. Jalen Brunson rising to the top, being the guy of the city, I think kind of hurt him. Who's talking shit? Who talking shit? I was talking about basketball. What you talking about? Jingle Boogers the Third. First of all, I love that name. I mean, I don't know if you was listening, dog. I was talking basketball. I don't know what you was hearing. We was talking basketball. We were talking about lineups, positions. You could rewind. It's free. you could go do that. We was talking hoops though. But to pretend like some of these things don't exist, and you know what it is too. And this is the other part that I wanted to talk about, right? Because a lot of fans out there think that this shit is 2K. A lot of fans be like, oh, you just go bench this dude in 2K. It don't matter. Yeah, because the motherfucker can't talk to you back. I'm not gonna lie, I'm stealing that name now. Like, Kobe Bryant spoke about him going on runs going 40 plus a game and Phil Jackson having to tell him to scale it back, and he said why. And you know the only reason why he did it was because the person he was scaling back for was Shaquille O'Neal. Anyone else, he would have said, fuck out of here. These things matter. Right? I think some people forget some of these human interactions that happen between athletes that we're not privy to. But just think about it in your own workplace, in your own experiences when you've gotten into conflict with people because of somebody got an opportunity maybe you thought you deserve, or somebody telling you not to do so much after you've been doing everything for your job. Those conversations aren't easy. And so to just completely neglect that part of it is silly to me. And on top of that, we weren't talking basketball. Now, it has been media day for the rest of the league, right? And speaking of, let me see this. Teams, not only the Knicks, need to be fair. It's cool for an organization to expect certain shit out of a player, but it's not cool for a player to expect certain shit. Think of Dante's career right now, right? Think of Donte DiVincenzo's career right now. If he was up for a contract this summer off of the year he just had, he would get paid a shit ton of money. Right? But now, right, he's going to be in a reduced role because everyone is healthy. His numbers are going to go down. Whose pocket's going to suffer? Whose contract is going to look totally different a year from now? Him. He's not only, if you knew that doesn't mean starter forever or paid or more popular team needs to go off fit and flow. Yeah, but like I said, we are in the beginning of the season and everyone at this moment kind of has a chance. And let's look at one of the people that we are going to have to go against in the East, which is the Milwaukee Bucks. And let's see what Giannis got. Clay came off the bench, found success, but went away from it. Yeah. And even to that part, right? Like, he was just trying to be a good teammate, but seeing where he is right now, clearly he still wanted to start, right? Like clearly in his mind, he's still that type of player that could contribute. But yeah, and people think like, oh, you just play bad, just shut up and play. Like, it don't work like that, dog. Like, it don't work. It just don't.
Nope. Walk it. 6, yeah. Now, count. I want share this. So once you come share, you bring it here and then shoot. Nice. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Oh, there you go. Okay, now. Put your elbow in. There you go.
Yeah, and honestly, that little tip that he gave them was really crucial. If being balanced on that turnaround, making sure you're jumping off of both of your feet. It actually, this little video gave me more insight on the type of training that I think Giannis has potentially been doing over the summer compared to the video he got, compared to the video that came out last year, I think, when he was going against Akeem. Let's see. What is Donte's salary? Ah, 12, 13 through the 26, 27, 11, 12, 12, 13. Let's see. 2022, 2023 free agent. I mean, honestly, I feel like he'd probably be close to like a $170 mil. Signed a 4-year, $46 million contract. And this is the last part on Donte, right? I don't know if y'all have seen this interview. It was Donte DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson, and Josh Hart. And there was a part in there where they were talking about one-on-one, and Josh Hart immediately was like, I'm not fucking with Jalen Brunson on this one-on-one shit. You know who didn't feel that way about Jalen Brunson? Donte DiVincenzo. I like I said, I mean, 4 years. I'm not saying that's not a lot of money. 4 years, $46 million. But when you think about how he was damn near at 19 points per game at the end of the last stretch of the year. You're a $170 million player. And now he goes from that market value to now we got to ask you to average 10 to 12 a game now. Those are two different salaries. And it just is what it is, right? But to get back to the mid-range god, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I've been begging for Giannis to add this to his game, right? Everybody's been talking about Giannis needs to shoot threes. Giannis needs to get a trade ball. And I was like, no, he don't. It'd be cool if he can get a hook shot, right? But a mid-range is also unbelievable, right? And so to see him working on that, right? And what did they say? If you're able to teach something, that means that you understand it very well, right? And so him giving those little details on balance, on how to take that turnaround shot, I think that's really, really key. And it's a great sign for the Milwaukee Bucks moving forward. Because now imagine if Giannis is able to post up, Dame is giving him the ball. You can't double off of Dame. Now you're going to leave Giannis one-on-one in the post against somebody 10 feet away from the basket. I think it's one of those small things that can go a long way for a player like Giannis. And maybe he's heard some of the critiques about him. I've been critical of him, right? If somebody were to ask me if Giannis has added to his game, I would say no. If you look at him as a rookie, and now his game is pretty much the same. He's just 50 pounds of muscle heavier. And obviously he's gotten better. Obviously he's improved. But to act like he's all of us, he has a post-up game, now he has this, he still drives to the right and spins left. I mean, just because no one can stop it don't mean that he don't need to improve. And I think that this goes a long way, right? Because I'll be honest with you, Damian Lillard is getting a little bit older, right? I don't think he's going to really be able to add to his bag. And he's also just a smaller point guard, as opposed to a Giannis who can still add to his game. And he's still really athletic, right? Now imagine a player like him who can mix the athleticism and the aggressiveness with some finesse. And now I think we get the wheels turning, and especially when, you know, him and Dame have had a year under their belt, hopefully they're able to figure out their two-man game this year, because that could be really, really scary. But, you know, even with that critique, this guy Giannis scored like 32 a game last year, had one of the best seasons he's had ever. Like I said, those numbers and him being an MVP candidate, those things don't factor into my critique of whether he can improve or not. It just is what it is. Dame and Giannis pick and roll. Brunson and Cat pick and pop. These will be the two most deadly weapons next season. Finesseful J. Who? You gotta think. What's another one, man? I'm not gonna lie. I mean, maybe because we kept seeing it at the end of the year, it's just fresh on my mind. That Derek White, the Tatum Derek White pick and roll, or the Tatum Drew Holiday pick and roll, was also deadly, just because they had so many actions coming off of it. And then I'll be honest, you can insert any name next to Luka, and I think that pick and roll, pick and pop, whatever you want to call it, was OD. I will say though, Finesseful J, I felt like there was a lot of times in the Dame and Giannis pick and roll where, because of who Giannis is, him setting the pick for Dame actually created a double team situation for Damian Lillard. And it didn't always work out great. That's what I'm saying. Hopefully they've kind of patched that up. I actually felt like Dame was a lot more successful doing a pick and pop with Brook Lopez, because when he would come around that corner and Lopez would pop to the three, he wasn't getting hard doubled the way he's getting hard doubled with Giannis, right? And then obviously Brunson and Cat, they have to adjust to each other, right? So it's gonna take time. I don't know if they'll be there yet. Like I said, that Tatum Derek White pick and roll, or the Drew Holiday pick and roll. Is Doc still the coach? Yeah. He's still the coach. He came in mid-year last year. No way, bro. No way they firing him yet. They not firing him yet. But yeah, the Bucks look, that little clip. I get that it's very little. But I think that there were some good things in there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that there were some good things in there. I love the mid-range game, so seeing him doing that was really dope to see. Now, continuing on our media day, I mean, we just got to see this, right? Like, we just got to see this. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I mean, dog. Listen. This looks insane. I can't even lie, yo. Like, this looks insane, bro.
Were you moment at practice that was well documented last week?
Like, yo, this shit looks crazy.
Where you said great defense, but better
like, dog,
offense.
are we
all
dead ass?
seriousness.
Like,
Please.
this looks nuts, bro. Like, they really on the same team. Like, we all know they got drafted. Still seeing them together looks crazy. I was watching a little bit of Bron's media day. He was talking about feeling really good, being in shape, something that we've talked about before. The Olympic experience helps a lot of these guys stay in basketball shape instead of having a long vacation, downtime, and then having to ramp back up. They were kind of able to stay in that mode for a long period of time. So I think pretty much everyone that was on the Olympics is going to come in really great shape and in basketball shape, more importantly. Which leads me to the question of whether or not the Lakers can go back-to-back in the Commissioner's Cup. Now, granted, I don't think that shit really means anything. They're going to try to make it mean something. It's really an award for who is the best team in the early season. And I think that obviously favors teams that don't have a bunch of trades, i.e. the Los Angeles Lakers. And then when you add the fact that LeBron and AD were both on the Olympic team and are both coming in probably in better shape than they usually do, I would say that they probably have a real good chance again. The other team that I was kind of looking at was the Boston Celtics because of what happened over the summer, essentially. I do think that they look poised to go on a run. And like I said before, if I were the Boston Celtics, I would try to go out and win the Commissioner's Cup just to send a message to the league. Start off dominant, win the Commissioner's Cup, fuck everything else, right? Go send that message, punch the entire league in the mouth, and keep it moving. But that remains to be seen. Now, seeing LeBron with Bronny is really cool, right? And with that, we get closer to seeing them on the floor together. Obviously, the last couple weeks, you know, they've been putting out videos of Bronny playing one-on-one against NBA guys. It didn't really do anything for me. I mean, I've known that he can score on NBA players and get scored on. Like, it doesn't do much, right? I do think that the thing about Bronny that everyone has praised, which is his IQ, that don't show until the game is on. I found it interesting Bron won it. Anytime there's something on the floor, he shows up, but just didn't have enough juice to win a series. I mean, if you also use the Bron aspect of it, right? Someone older like him. I mean, he said he got a lot in the gas tank. I think that's kind of cap. He's obviously older, so it would benefit Bron. He's gonna be fresher and better earlier in the season to go back to the Commissioner's Cup and winning that again. It benefits an older player like LeBron, right? To have that in the earlier part of the season, taking advantage of the mistakes that all of these new teams got that are just coming together. But yeah, I like I said, I'm really curious as to how Bronny is gonna look on the team. Is he gonna look like an NBA pro? How many minutes is he gonna get? I mean, Magic Johnson just said the other day that he thinks he should be, let's see this. Did he say he should be on the G League? Yeah, he was saying how he didn't believe that he should be on an NBA team. and that he should have gone the G League route, which I do and don't agree with, right? Because, you know, obviously we've seen some G League guys come up, but the reality is that competition will never, well, it'll never compare to the NBA's competition, right? So, in terms of, you know, iron sharpens iron, his best chance, honestly, to have success is to face the fire and go through the NBA. Like I said, I do think we'll see early on if he's an NBA talent or not. He still can't. He should do both, play both the same day when possible. That motherfucker's gonna die. Yo, imagine he pull up to the Laker game in the wrong uniform. Yo, Elijah, you trying to kill that boy. Yo, that's crazy. I don't even know. I wonder where their arenas are. He might have to go hike all across LA just to get from one game to the other through some LA traffic. We'll see. We'll see. He has some good physical attributes to him. But yeah, Bronny, he looked all right, especially after his initial games. Like I said, we'll see. It really comes down to how good his IQ is and can he execute it. Because you got to remember too, what we do with our Raptors. Honestly, y'all just gotta pray that Scotty Barnes is really like that, bro. That's really like that's really the hope. Knicks used to play in 40 minutes too. Yeah, like you just gotta pray, dog, at this point. I do think that RJ looks comfortable, and he's looked a lot better. Especially with the Canada experience in the Olympics. Like, he looked real solid. But I mean, the East is kind of stacked this year. Like, if you really think about it, the East is kind of crazy. I mean, you got the Knicks, you have the Celtics, obviously are defending champs. You have the Sixers, you have Milwaukee, you have Indiana coming back after all of their success last year. Miami with Jimmy. I mean, we got some stiff competition in the East. And I think what that really does, right, with how stacked the East is. I am just a passenger. I have no clue what we're doing. I don't expect us to be that good now or in the near future. Like I said, your only hope is that Scotty Barnes is really like that. Because if he's really like that, he might attract talent to go up there in the coming years. And then the name I keep bringing up. Y'all better, if he goes crazy this year, y'all better give me my credit. I think Paolo Banchero is like that, bro. So if he has a crazy year, y'all better go back to this. Because and he was great last year already. He looks good, dog. Like, he looks good. But like I said, the East, I think, is stacked this year. There's a lot of teams. There's a lot of players. But obviously also there's a lot of moving parts. So everyone still has to mesh. I think the first half of the season is going to look really sloppy. And it could be a recipe for the Boston Celtics to beat the fuck out of everybody. I keep going back to it. But, everyone's trying to figure out their sets, trying to figure out where people are comfortable. And you have this Boston Celtics team that's just stacked, that's played together over the last year and won a championship. I think they're in a good spot to just kind of beat the fuck out of everybody. Hawk should be better addition by subtraction. Trey will be more free to be explosive. I got to see how Alex Sarr is, man. I got to see how these other Frenchmen play. That's really what it comes down to, because to your point, Trey is gonna do his thing, right? We know what Trae Young does, right? We know how good he is. He's a really good player in the league. Not the greatest of all time, like he was saying if he was 6'8", but a really good player in this league. And it really comes down to how Alex Sarr and his supporting cast will support him, essentially. So that is the question mark. Now, moving along real quickly to the West, to the runner-up in the NBA Finals, we saw Klay Thompson get moved from the Warriors to the Dallas Mavericks. And I'll be honest, man, like Klay, the big thing about him that I was talking about is he in shape? Right? How good of a shape is Klay Thompson in? And I think that's important because of what he obviously does, right? He runs off of the ball and hits open shots. But more importantly, for his defense, right? You got to be in shape to be able to play defense. And he looked good. He looks good in Mavericks gear, first and foremost. He looked good in it. And will his game also look good in the Mavericks gear? And I guess the conversation that I kind of want to have, because I don't think we've ever really seen this. We've seen different aspects of athleticism get used over the years. Mavs offseason was amazing. A lot of great moves. I agree. Hopefully Luka is 100% healthy. Because if Luka's 100% healthy, he might do some crazy shit this year. He really might go crazy this year. Luka might be like, y'all didn't give me the MVP last year. Watch this. It just go berserk. But I guess to an extent the Warriors have kind of used it. But have we ever seen great cardio get weaponized in the NBA? And I guess I kind of just answered that myself, right? Which was with a Klay Thompson and a Steph Curry. But we don't see it being utilized by other players and other teams, right? Cardio is one of those things that it can make a really great player look like shit. And it can make a decent player look great if in the fourth quarter, one of y'all is tired and the other one is not. And, with all of the different aspects of the NBA that's been changing. Yes, Dennis Rodman, that's a great shout. Dennis Rodman is a great shout. Just being in better shape than everybody else. Not being stronger, faster, just being in better shape. In peak condition. I would love to see moving forward other teams and other players utilize this, right? We've seen the Warriors damn near gas teams out by the third quarter because everybody's running up and down the fucking court. They're adding they're adding possessions to the game, forcing guys to run around. They've done statistics on the amount of miles that Steph Curry runs during games, right? And this is an aspect of the game. It's such a simple aspect of the game that I think could be utilized by other teams, right? And open the game up. So that's something to look out for. I don't know if it's going to happen. I really doubt a lot of teams really look at it in that way. I guess Kobe was another one too. I mean, you got to be in shape to hit clutch shots too, right? You got to have legs under you to be able to hit them shots. I suggest it to all young players, just be in better shape because of what you were explaining. Yeah, like, how many times have you seen a really good to great player just their star gets put out at the end of a game at any level just because they're tired? All of a sudden, they're not hitting shots. They're making mistakes. So many things start to go wrong, and then it snowballs very quickly. And then you get a player like a Klay Thompson, can't dribble to save his fucking life, damn near, can't really go left, but he is super successful at the end of games, just being in better shape than people, outrunning people, beating you to a spot, right? I think sometimes, when we always imagine having the ball, right? When, an off-ball player, it's beating you to that spot, right? And sometimes especially in that, if someone's even quicker or faster than you, but they're not in shape, you're going to beat them to that spot at the end of a game that maybe they were beating you to earlier on in the game. It's these little things matter. Now, I'm gonna close the today on this topic. This was a quote from the COO of the Indiana Fever, and she's talking about Caitlin Clark.
Away games, they always sold out. Unbelievable. So
Delhi.
Atlanta would normally have 3,000, 4,000 people. Now they have 17,000.
First of all, y'all heard the shade. Wait, y'all heard the shade? She said, "Oh, this team. What team did she refer to? Let's bring it back.
Always sold out.
She said, "Oh, they be getting 3,000 fans. Now with Caitlin, they got 17,000."
When we would go to away games, they always sold out. Unbelievable. So Atlanta would normally have 3,000, 4,000 people. Now they have 17,000 people, and they sold 1,000 standing room only tickets. So when we walked into the arena, people were on that third balcony looking down at the tops of our players' heads to watch. It's really hard to take in. After a few away games and all of the sellouts, Caitlin asked the WNBA if they would pay spot bonuses to the away team players. She said,
Wow.
We're making all this new revenue, and I would like the away team to benefit from that. Could they get a spot bonus? So that's the heart of Caitlin Clark. I mean, that's a classy, amazing person.
So, but it's...
And I wanted to bring this up because there were some comments made about basically Caitlin Clark needs to control her fans, as if any celebrity or star or whatever they are has ever been able to control their fans, right? I think some of the conversations surrounding the WNBA is in fantasy world, right? Because in reality, Caitlin Clark, through this entire season, has spoken up for her peers in the WNBA to say, and she made it very clear the other day, if you got racist things to say, if you got things to say that I don't agree with, you're not my fan. And these other players must not have been watching her interviews, because she's been expressing these sentiments, like I said, the entire season already. She is a very godlike, I assume she's Christian because the way she acts, but I don't know if she is or not. I would not be as grateful. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be either. And this is why she's unbelievable. The fact that she has that type of thinking to be like, hey, let's give this around. Like, the literal definition of a rising tide rises all ships. And she is literally doing that for people. And when I say they're in fantasy land, right? Because I spoke on this the other day already. Obviously, these assholes on the internet that are threatening people, that are saying racist comments, sexist comments, misogynistic comments to these women are pieces of shit. Obviously. See, I feel like that should go without saying, but I think we're in a time nowadays where I have to say these things, right? But I want to ask these women, what was their expectation with the added fan base to the WNBA, with more eyes, more viewers, more just people, right? because with every pro, there's a con, right? In no version of this was it possible for them to get all of these viewership numbers, all of these sponsorship deals, money goes up, and there's nothing bad comes with it. That's just not reality. That's not how anything works. Anything good is going to have some bad. Anything bad is going to have some good. And like I've said, I do think it's on the WNBA to create a buffer. So there is a gap between these women and these fans, especially nowadays where, you know, these fans spend so much time on their Instagrams, on their YouTube, consuming their content that they feel like they are owed something by these players. They buy their things. Sports betting makes it even worse. The people that bet on these games feel like the players owe them something, right? So we're in that world where the line between celebrities or athletes and fans is blurred, right? It's not like it was before where there was a clear separation. And I think it's on the WNBA to build a infrastructure to protect their women, because that's what they have to do. They have to protect their women. And like I said, I just wish that there was more reality and accountability that was attached to some of these comments, like, oh, we're being physical because this is how we approach players like this, or so on and so forth. But especially recently, it's just been like, oh, we're just getting shit on, not realizing you guys are gonna get paid too. But you know, that is Fantasyland. And honestly, for the most part, when it comes to media day and trying to visualize how, you know, to take it away from the WNBA, trying to visualize how these NBA teams are going to look, we are in Fantasyland for only a couple weeks now. We are almost at the start of the season. Now, before I get out of here, I'm going to ask y'all, please like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. It'll really help the channel out. Y'all are awesome. I hope y'all have had a great time today. That's going to do it for me. Before I get out of here, actually, I think I wanted to start adding this new thing. A song that I've been kind of jamming to recently. What was a new one that I popped up on? Oh, it's not even a song. If you haven't yet, go listen to Big X the Plug, yo. Go listen to Big X the Plug. Fire out of Texas. If you working out, running, great music to bump to. Great rapper. Like I said, thank you guys as always. Y'all could have been anywhere, and I mean anywhere on the internet. Y'all could have been Google mapped anywhere, but y'all were here with me, and I really appreciate y'all for that. So thank you guys. I will see y'all later. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. I'll see y'all Wednesday, man. I appreciate y'all. Peace.